Have you ever met someone who seems to understand you better than you understand yourself? Someone who's deeply empathetic, insightful, and almost eerily intuitive? Chances are you've encountered an INFJ, the rarest personality type in the world. But here's the burning question. What lies beneath the surface of these seemingly perfect individuals? What's the dark truth about INFJs that no one wants to admit? Buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the shadows of the INFJ personality, uncovering the raw, unfiltered reality that often goes unnoticed. 1. The INFJ facade, the mask of perfection. INFJs are often seen as the ultimate nurturers, compassionate, wise, and selfless. They're the ones who remember your favorite coffee order, listen to your problems for hours, and always seem to know the right thing to say. But here's the kicker. This perfect exterior is often a carefully constructed mask. INFJs are masters of disguise, hiding their true selves behind a wall of empathy and kindness. Why? Because they fear rejection. They're terrified that if people saw the real them, the messy, flawed, and deeply emotional side, they'd be cast aside. This fear drives them to present a polished version of themselves, one that's always put together and in control. But behind closed doors, they're wrestling with their own insecurities and doubts. The pressure to maintain this facade can be exhausting, leaving them feeling like they're living a double life. 2. The burden of empathy, feeling too much. One of the most defining traits of an INFJ is their overwhelming empathy. They don't just sympathize, they feel others' emotions as if they were their own. Sounds beautiful, right? Well, not exactly. This intense empathy can be a double-edged sword. INFJs often absorb the pain, stress, and negativity of those around them, leaving them emotionally drained. They carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, and it's a burden that can crush them if they don't find a way to cope. Imagine walking into a room and immediately sensing the tension, the unspoken anger, or the hidden sadness. For INFJs, this is their reality. They can't just turn it off. This constant emotional overload can lead to burnout, anxiety, and even depression. While their empathy allows them to connect deeply with others, it also makes them vulnerable to emotional exhaustion. 3. The loneliness of being different. INFJs make up less than 2% of the population, which means they often feel like outsiders. They see the world differently, think differently, and feel differently. While this uniqueness is a gift, it's also a curse. INFJs struggle to find people who truly get them. They crave deep, meaningful connections but often end up feeling isolated and misunderstood. It's a lonely existence, and one that many INFJs silently endure. They might have a wide circle of acquaintances, but very few who truly understand their inner world. This loneliness can lead to a sense of alienation, as if they're watching life from the sidelines rather than fully participating in it. They long for someone who can match their depth and intensity, but such connections are rare. 4. The perfectionism trap, never feeling good enough. INFJs are notorious perfectionists. They hold themselves to impossibly high standards, striving to be the best version of themselves in every aspect of life. But here's the dark truth. This relentless pursuit of perfection often leads to self-doubt and burnout. INFJs are their own harshest critics, constantly questioning whether they're doing enough, being enough, or giving enough. It's a never-ending cycle that can leave them feeling inadequate and exhausted. They set lofty goals for themselves, whether it's in their career, relationships, or personal growth, and they're rarely satisfied with their achievements. Even when they succeed, they're quick to downplay their accomplishments and focus on what they could have done better. This perfectionism can be paralyzing, preventing them from taking risks or trying new things for fear of failure. 5. The hidden anger, a volcano beneath the surface. You might think INFJs are always calm and composed, but don't be fooled. Beneath their serene exterior lies a simmering volcano of anger. INFJs hate conflict and avoid it at all costs, which means they often suppress their frustrations. But when pushed too far, that anger can erupt in unexpected and intense ways. It's not pretty, and it's something many INFJs are deeply ashamed of. They might lash out at loved ones, become overly critical, or retreat into silence. This hidden anger stems from their deep sense of justice and their frustration with the world's imperfections. They see so much potential for goodness and harmony, but they're often disappointed by the reality of human behavior. This disconnect between their ideals and the real world can fuel their anger, even if they rarely show it. 6. The fear of vulnerability, guarded hearts. INFJs are deeply emotional beings, but you'd never know it by looking at them. They guard their hearts fiercely, afraid of being hurt or betrayed. Opening up to someone is a huge risk for an INFJ, and it's one they don't take lightly. This fear of vulnerability can make it hard for them to form close relationships, even though they crave connection more than anything. They might share bits and pieces of themselves, but they rarely reveal their true depth. This guardedness can create a barrier between them and others, leaving them feeling even more isolated. They want to be loved and accepted for who they are, but they're terrified of being rejected or misunderstood. 7. The overthinking spiral, paralysis by analysis. INFJs have incredibly active minds. They're constantly analyzing, reflecting, and overthinking every little detail. While this introspection can lead to profound insights, it can also be paralyzing. INFJs often get stuck in their heads, overanalyzing situations to the point where they can't make decisions or take action. It's a mental trap that can hold them back from living their best lives. They might spend hours replaying conversations in their minds, wondering if they said the right thing or if they offended someone. This overthinking can lead to anxiety and indecision, making it difficult for them to move forward. 8. The savior complex, trying to fix everyone. INFJs have a natural desire to help others, but this can sometimes morph into a savior complex. They feel responsible for fixing everyone's problems, even at the expense of their own well-being. This compulsion to save others can lead to codependency, burnout, and resentment. It's a dark side of their altruism that often goes unnoticed. They might neglect their own needs in favor of helping others, believing that their worth is tied to how much they can give. This savior complex can be exhausting, leaving them feeling drained and unappreciated. 9. The struggle with boundaries, giving too much. INFJs are givers by nature. They're always willing to lend a hand, offer support, or go the extra mile for someone in need. But here's the problem. They often give too much, leaving little for themselves. INFJs struggle to set boundaries, fearing that saying no will make them seem selfish or uncaring. This lack of boundaries can lead to exploitation and emotional exhaustion. They might find themselves constantly putting others' needs ahead of their own, leaving them feeling depleted and resentful. Learning to set boundaries is a crucial step for INFJs, but it's one that doesn't come easily. 10. The fear of failure, playing it safe. INFJs are dreamers with big ideas and even bigger aspirations. But their fear of failure often holds them back from taking risks. They'd rather play it safe than risk falling short of their own expectations. This fear can stifle their creativity and prevent them from reaching their full potential. They might have grand visions for their lives, but they're often too afraid to take the necessary steps to make them a reality. This fear of failure can keep them stuck in their comfort zone, preventing them from pursuing their dreams. 11. The dark side of intuition, seeing too much. INFJs are highly intuitive, often picking up on things that others miss. While this can be a gift, it can also be a curse. INFJs sometimes see too much, hidden motives, unspoken tensions, and underlying issues. This heightened awareness can make it hard for them to trust others or feel at ease in social situations. They might sense that someone is being dishonest or manipulative, even if there's no obvious evidence. This intuition can be a burden, making it difficult for them to relax and enjoy the moment. 12. The battle with self-worth, seeking validation. Despite their many strengths, INFJs often struggle with self-worth. They seek validation from others, hoping that external approval will fill the void inside. But no amount of praise or recognition can truly satisfy them. INFJs need to learn to validate themselves, but it's a journey that's easier said than done. They might constantly seek reassurance from others, doubting their own abilities and worth. This lack of self-worth can hold them back from pursuing their goals and living authentically. 13. The need for solitude, escaping the world. INFJs are introverts at heart, and they need plenty of alone time to recharge. But their need for solitude can sometimes border on isolation. They retreat into their own worlds, shutting out the people and experiences that could bring them joy. It's a delicate balance and one that INFJs often struggle to maintain. They might withdraw from social interactions, preferring the comfort of their own thoughts and imagination. While solitude is essential for their well-being, too much of it can lead to loneliness and disconnection. 14. The pressure to be the counselor. INFJs are often seen as the go-to person for advice and support. While they're flattered by this role, it can also be overwhelming. They feel pressured to always have the answers, to always be the strong one. This expectation can weigh heavily on them, leaving little room for their own needs and emotions. They might feel obligated to help others, even when they're struggling themselves. This pressure to be the counselor can be exhausting, leaving them feeling drained and unappreciated. 15. The fear of abandonment, holding on too tight. INFJs form deep, lasting bonds with the people they care about. But this intensity can sometimes backfire. Their fear of abandonment can make them clingy or overly dependent, pushing people away instead of drawing them closer. It's a painful paradox that many INFJs grapple with. They want to be close to others, but their fear of losing them can create tension and strain in their relationships. Learning to balance their need for connection with their fear of abandonment is a crucial step for INFJs. Conclusion: embracing the light and the dark. The INFJ personality is a complex tapestry of light and shadow. While they possess incredible strengths, empathy, intuition, and a deep desire to make the world a better place, they also face unique challenges that can weigh heavily on their hearts and minds. The dark truth about INFJs is that they're not the perfect, selfless beings they're often made out to be. They're human with flaws, fears, and struggles just like everyone else. But here's the silver lining. By acknowledging and embracing their darker side, INFJs can find balance and peace. They can learn to set boundaries, prioritize self-care, and let go of the need for perfection. It's a journey of self-discovery and growth, and one that's well worth taking. So, the next time you meet an INFJ, remember, there's more to them than meets the eye. Behind that kind smile and empathetic gaze lies a world of depth, complexity, and untold stories. And maybe, just maybe, by understanding their dark truth, we can all learn to be a little more compassionate, not just toward them but toward ourselves as well.